Hey guys, welcome to another episode of constructive feedback for Battlefield 4. So I'm gonna see some flaws that Battlefield 3 has, point them out, give constructive feedback on how they should be fixed or avoided in order or in hopes of DICE listening and making Battlefield 4 a far superior game, not making the same mistakes. Now let's talk about something really important here. Today's episode is gonna be about level design. And the level design I'm talking about is only including the maps that came with Battlefield 3. I'm not talking about the DLC maps, okay? Now the subjects I'm gonna show you guys is that how these most of the maps are flawed in a way that make the gameplay experience frustrating, and I'm gonna show you guys how the maps are not fully optimized for all the modes, you know, Conquest, Conquest Large, Assault, Rush, and that the maps are not also optimized for a clean gameplay without frustrating experiences that you can't do nothing about. So if you think the level design is pretty good, I'm gonna start with Grand Bazaar. It's one of the most favorited maps on Battlefield 3 along with Operation Metro. Those are the most played maps, at least on the PC version. And that's the reason I'm not gonna discuss just yet. But if you think that these maps are great and there's nothing wrong with them, stick with me for a moment and you might change your mind and see things differently. Now let's talk about one tiny thing that DICE added since the Bad Company 2 days, which is the out of bounds or the no-go zone, which is when you enter the enemy base, a 10-second counter starts, and when it reaches 0 you die. Alright, so that's one of the things they added in the game to prevent spawn raping or spawn camping or base raping. In this case it's more about base raping. Spawn camping or spawn raping might also include when you are spawning on flags. Alright, base raping means that it's your main base, you're getting raped at your main base. There's no way you can get out because the enemy has choked you so much there's no way out. And you're just gonna stay there, die over and over again until you run out of tickets, and that's frustrating and that's unfair. Now let's talk about the out of bounds zone or the no-go zone here at the Grand Bazaar. If you are on the attacking team and if you capture all the flags, you're gonna go so close on the enemy team, you're gonna get somewhere around where I am with the MAV, you know, near the bridge or near these cranes, etc. And basically you're gonna rape over and over again anyone that tries to get out of the base. There's nothing you can really do. Why? Because of one simple thing that all maps do have the same mistake. Because of the same mistake, which is the lack of vertical gameplay. When I think about vertical gameplay, guys, think about the Back to Karkand expansion pack or the Aftermath expansion pack. You have underground tunnels or passageways, you have the ground level, and then you have upper floors. You know, that's vertical gameplay. It gives you lots of options regarding that. But that doesn't really happen on vanilla maps on the UNCAPS. If you think about Sign Crossing, yes, there's vertical gameplay, but there's not enough vertical gameplay to prevent spawn raping. Now, if you look at this specific building here, there's obviously vertical gameplay. There's 3 floors, so it's good, right? No, it's not good, because you can't access this part of the map, this specific building, without getting raped by everyone camping outside of your no-go zone, okay? There's no way you're gonna get through this place without getting killed, nor through this one. You're gonna get raped. There's no way you can do that, especially if you're playing on a server with more than 32 players, you know, 32, 48 or 64. There's no way you're gonna get out of there, because it's simply there's too many players for so few room in the game. So what could have DICE done to prevent these situations? They should have added more vertical gameplay, more buildings like this, and especially make it accessible through our no-go zone, through our main base. Now make a door here, more or less like there, so that the players from this base could access that building within their safe zone, from within their safe zone. Okay, that doesn't happen right now. That alone would be a huge advantage. Now the same thing could be applied to this building right here. From this one where we're seeing until this one, there should be 3 floors, so that even though the other team is camping and trying to base rape you, you will always hold the advantage because you are above them. That alone is a huge advantage, and you're not only above them, but you're going to be holding the flanks on a higher position like this, so that would be a huge advantage. So those 3 buildings should have access to the to 3 floors. The same thing should happen with this side of the building as well. I mean, this side only. This side would not be balanced, because then you would have direct access to the flag, and you could defend the flag from a place where the enemy can't access, so that would be unfair. Speaking of unfair, these parts of the map should also not be destructible, because that way it would lose the purpose. For balance purposes, these specific buildings should not be destructible. Now, not to break balance and not to be unfair for the other team, there should also be a building more or less in my position, as tall as I am right now, alright, so that you couldn't see the flag from within your out of bounds, from within your no-go zone, because that, again, that would be unfair. You would be able to defend the flag from a position inaccessible by the enemy. So if you have that building right here, that wouldn't be possible. So again, problem solved. You would hold the flanks on a higher position. That would mean no base raping at all. And the same thing could be applied on every map, on every base. There's vertical gameplay missing. Even if it's an underground passageway or higher buildings, there's always a solution if you look at vertical gameplay. The same thing could have been done here, and it wasn't. It's not enough what they done. I mean you can access this little ledge here, which serves for nothing other than get 1 or 2 kills and then get smashed, or this one here, which is actually good. This one is good, but it's just not enough. So there should be more vertical gameplay throughout the UNCAPS, throughout the main bases, but not in a way that you could see the other flags, alright? And those specific vertical elements of the game should not be destructible. If I said apply this technique on all maps, there would be barely no base raping at all, alright? And that's one of the most frustrating things of Battlefield 3, getting base raped, because you're playing with a bunch of randoms. Mistakes are gonna happen, and it's not fair that an entire team gets punished big time for the rest of the match. Sometimes it even sometimes it even happens right at the beginning, and it's not fair. There should be ways for you to make things differently, alright? Especially again on 32, 48 and 64 versions of the maps. Now let's talk about the specific spawn points for the flags. Now when you spawn on a flag, the spawn locations are not only fixed, but the order on which you spawn is always the same. What do I mean by this? It's simple. What we're seeing here is the overview map of Grand Bazaar, and this is the A flag. Okay, so I made a study, like when I was playing on a competitive level, on the exact locations on where the enemy would spawn, so that when I was capturing the flag, I would know exactly where they would show up, and I would be expecting them and killing them. So for example, the first time they would spawn on the flag, it would be in this place. The second time, it would be right here. The third time, it would be right here. So you could tell exactly where he would show. And that's a huge problem. First of all, the spawn points should be random. I mean, there should be much more spawn points spread throughout the flag zone. Much more. And the order on which you spawn on them should be completely random. And it's not. So basically, it's unfair, because if you're playing the objective, which is defending the flag, if you're trying to spawn the flag in order to defend it, there's really nothing you can do. You're gonna get spawn raped over and over again. Now let's talk about the B side, for example, this one. You only have one spawn here and another spawn there, and you're gonna get easily spawn raped, just like you're seeing on this video. There you go, see? Bam. He spawned and he's dead. It's as simple as that. He even spawned with his back turned against me. So this is definitely an issue with Battlefield 3, and this happens on every single flag in the game. There's places you can position yourself so that when the enemy spawns, he'll just be with his back turned against you. So this is definitely an issue that needs solving. Now the solution would be to render this entire part here an out of bounds zone or a no-go zone with 3 second counter only. Alright? This way, the attacking team could never get inside this place and you would be able to spawn safely. They could always throw grenades and, you know, spam the hell out of that place, but at least you would spawn and be alive for the next seconds. Alright? Big difference. But then again, there's another thing that should be added. Again, oh, that was my battle log. Again, that's the vertical gameplay. There should be a way to go up some stairs and get out exactly on, whoa, sorry, get out exactly on top of these buildings. In these windows, you should have access to these windows, okay? Because this way, if someone was base raping you right here, imagine that they were inside this particular place base raping you, they only have to focus on two tiny doors. It's obviously a bottleneck, a choke point, but not as much, but it won't be a choke point if you were able to go up to this floor right here. The same thing applies for this spawn point. From these doors forward, this should be an out of bounds zone, and you should have a ladder that will allow you access to the upper part of these floors, of this specific part of the map, and you should be able to go up here. Alright? The enemies can still, first of all, this is a no capture zone. You shouldn't be able to capture the flag while on this particular part of the map. And this part of the map should also, you should be able to have somewhat of a view towards it. Alright, if you are on the enemy team, you should be able to take them down. So, my suggestion would be to, you know, be able to climb to any of these places right here. So you'd still be able to kill them, but you wouldn't have such a open angle to kill them. So they would be able to get out of base raping and prevent that. Alright guys, another example of how broken the spawn points are. I'm playing Squad Rush on Sharqi Peninsula, and this is the bomb right here. Now let's say that I arm the bomb, and the defending team is gonna spawn to try and defend it. Look at that. This is how easy it is to spawn rape. They spawn on a place, on an open field, with no cover whatsoever. They don't have any crates, nothing. They just spawn in plain sight and wait to get killed. Look at that. And the spawn point is always like this. He's always gonna spawn in a place where it's extremely easy to base rape. You know, even though they have spawn protection those 2 seconds, they don't stand a chance. With a full squad here, with the MCOM armed, there's just no way they're gonna get another chance at defusing it. I mean, come on. Who tested this? Who did the gameplay and the level design for this? I mean, come on. Did DICE really test these things? Do you guys really test it out? This makes absolutely no sense. Look. This is just another prime example of how broken the level design is, the spawn location is, and how poorly tested this game is before it's even shipped. Okay, it's gonna be the same over and over again. Now regarding the level design and the optimization for each different game mode, there's just one thing I can't understand. Operation Metro could be much more than it is right now. You might think that it's a good map, but it's a good map for 24 players. More than that, it's a huge clusterfuck, especially on Conquest Large. Now when you play Rush, you have this huge outside area right here. This is just this is huge, and it's not used for Conquest Large, and there's no apparent reason for that. There's no reason at all. You can't use this part of the map on Conquest. I mean, at least one flag could fit here perfectly. And then again guys, I'm talking about the 32, 48 and 64 player version. Alright, then when you get to the inside of the map, you have these tunnels right here, which is actually awesome. This was a really good idea. Let me walk there so that you guys can see it more clearly. The level design on Operation Metro has everything to be an awesome map, not a true battlefield map, because it still wouldn't support vehicles, which I think that with some tweaks it would at least support one LAV per team and one little bird per team as well. So one LAV and one little bird per team. I don't think that would be a problem. But anyway, you see these tunnels here. This is really well thought. But the thing is, whenever you play this game on Conquest, there's no use for these kinds of tunnels at all. I mean, there should be more of this leading all the way up there throughout the map, and there should also be service stairs that would connect you to the upper parts of the map. Why? Because when you're playing this game on Conquest Large and you're getting base raped big time, there's nothing you can do. Now if that tunnel would go further ahead, and that if you had any other, you know, one tunnel like that on each side of the map, and another service stairs that would lead all the way up there. Let me just activate these ones. Now for example, when you're playing Conquest Large, these stairs right here, these ones, the ones right there in the front, and these ones here on the side are a huge clusterfuck. I mean, when you're playing on 32 players, with 32 players, like let's say we have 3 entrances to this flag, right? 3 entrances. Well, let's say we're playing 15 versus 15. You have 10 players battling on this part of the map, 10 players battling over this one, and 10 players battling over this one. This is just, there's not enough room for so many players, let alone 64. Now this map might be famous and all, but you know as well as I do that this map is only good for stats padding, and it's a dumb map. You only have to shoot stuff that's in front of you. You don't have to think because it's really linear. That's why it's famous. But is it a good map? Is it optimized for every game mode? No, not really, not at all. Now my solution would be to have more service tunnels, as you saw, those ones with the pipes back there, and some service stairs, I don't know, in this location here, service stairs that would lead upwards. And this way you would have more options to actually get past this flag and advance on the battlefield to the flags that are further ahead. Now this is a huge flaw, a huge design flaw. I mean, this might be optimized for 24 players, but it's sure not optimized for more than that. Absolutely not. Alright guys, now did I change your point of view regarding Battlefield 3 and the level design? Do you guys now see it as I see it? The lack of optimization for specific player counts for more than 24 players, the lack of optimization for each game mode. You saw what happened with Sharqi Peninsula. That's just one tiny example of how it is not optimized for squad rush. They make one map thinking about a specific game mode, period. They don't optimize that map. They don't make that map from the ground up thinking about all the possibilities, all the game modes. And they don't also take into account the way people keep getting base raped, the spawn locations on the flags, completely predictable and unreliable. Do you see things as I see it now? The linear maps not taking any advantage whatsoever from vertical gameplay, thus cutting you from tactical gameplay, forcing you into choke points and stalemates, forcing you to basically playing Counter-Strike Go on an aim map, where basically everyone is in front of you all the time. There's no flanking possibilities. It doesn't reward you for being smart and actually playing, thinking before acting. Do you see it now, guys? If you do, please share this video. Without your support, we can never get this message out, and Battlefield 4, I'm afraid, will have the same mistakes. So please tweet this video to DICE, put it on Facebook, Twitter, share it with your friends. I don't know, guys, but please, if you do see things how I see, and if you agree with my points of view that DICE, even though they made a great game, it's still full of flaws that are highly susceptible to happen in Battlefield 4. If you see it that way, please help us out to spread the word and try and make Battlefield 4 a really kick-ass game. So thank you for watching, guys, and take care. Cheers.